Hassana Ritran, co-chair of the organizing committee of the APCONF 2023, is here with us today. Dr. Veronica Walker Delio, co-chair of the organizing committee of the APCONF 2023. Dr. Brian Fay, co-chair of the organizing committee of APCONF 2023. Ms. Kim Yeon-soo, head of the National Research Institute of Cultural Heritage under the Cultural Heritage of Administration. Mr. Kim Yong-han, former head of the Cultural Heritage Conservation Science Center of National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage under the Cultural Heritage Administration. Mr. Shim Yam-seop, former head of the Underwater Archaeology Division of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage under the Cultural Heritage Administration. Dr. Nalani Wilson Hokwitsu, Senior Research Fellow at the Indigenous Research Institute, are here with us. Dr. Kim Hyung-do, representative of GeoView. Mr. Kim Sung-do, CEO of Ocean Tech. Professor Chun Sung-hae of Joseon University. Mr. Kim Sang-woo, Director General of Planning and Operation Division at the Asia Culture Center under the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism.
네. 자, 사회자님 지금 모든 내빈분들은 소개시켜 주시고 난 다음에 그분들이 일어서셔서 아마 객석을 다시 뒤돌으셔서 인사하시잖아요. 그 타이밍을 좀 네, 왜 그러냐면 지금 소속하고 성함을 화면에 띄우고 난 다음에 그분들 얼굴을 지금 아나운서 잡아드렸던 것처럼 보여드려야 되기 때문에 좀 빠르게 진행 가면은 이게 굉장히 번거로울 수 있습니다. 그래서 그 인사하고 앉으시고 이런 거 충분히 여유 있게 내빈 소개 총 11분이시잖아요. 네. 12분이 되셨죠? 네. 12분. 제일 마지막에 ACC 국장님도 소개가 돼야 됩니다. 그 부분 체크되셨으면 네. 천천히 저희가 그 사회자님 따라가 드릴 테니까 빠르게 한 번에 쭉 읽으면 안 됩니다. 한 번 소개하고 그분 일어나셔서 인사하고 그리고 난 다음에 앉으시고 하고 확인하고 난 다음에 또다시 그리고 확인하고 난 다음에 이렇게 순서대로 네. 천천히 여유롭게 갈게요. 네, 이해하셨죠? 네. 네, 넘어가겠습니다. 중요한 부분만 하겠습니다. 자, 개회사 진행해 볼게요.
Now let's proceed to listen to the opening speech, which will formally inaugurate this event. The opening speech will be delivered by Director General Kim Seongbae of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
자, 지금 MC님 지금 현재 리허설이라는 거를 현장의 장내에 좀 안내 멘트 좀 해주세요. 현재 상황은 리허설이고 이따가 저희 10시 20분에 진행이 되는데 간단하게 리허설 진행 중이다라고 안내해 주세요.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're currently conducting a rehearsal for the following event, so we will proceed with the event at 10:20 a.m.
자, 좋습니다. 자, 개회사를 한번 이제 하셨고요. 개회사는 제가 플로우 어떻게 되냐면 올라가셔서 이제 소개해 주시잖아요. 올라가시고 난 다음에 마이크를 저희 의전팀 잡아드릴 거예요. 그리고 난 다음에 마이크 잡고 의전팀 빠지면 이제 개회사 하시죠. 개회사 하시고 인사하시고 내려오시잖아요. 그러면 그 다음에 그런 무대 상황을 보고 난 다음에 설명을 사회를 봐주시면 됩니다. 네, 그러면 저희가 그 순서에 맞춰서 간지랑 이런 것들 정리 좀 할게요.
네.
자, 환영사, 개회사 그렇고요. 그리고 환영사 있죠. 니아 위원장님 맞죠?
네.
네, 넘어가겠습니다.
네.
그리고 축사 있습니다. 그렇죠, 사회자님?
개회사가 있고 그 다음에 바로 축사로 넘어가는데요.
아, 그러면은요, 그게 좀 잘못된 거예요. 개회사 다음에 환영사를 니아 위원장님이 하고요. 그리고 마지막으로 축사를 축사를 이면수 원장님께서 하십니다.
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 확인되셨죠? 개회사, 환영사, 그 다음에 축사 순입니다. 소장님, 위원장님, 원장님이 이렇게 순서대로 하십니다. 자, 그래서 마지막에 환영사,
네.
축사까지 끝나면요. 축사 끝나면 이제 기념사진 촬영이 있고요. 기념사진 촬영할 때는 총 12분이 무대 위에 올라가시면 도요라고 하는데 두 분한테는 이제 뭐 한국어도 설명을 해주시고 영어도 설명을 해주시는데 하나 둘 셋 파이팅 포즈 꼭 취할 수 있도록 해주시고 충분히 여유롭게 끌어주시면 될 것 같아요.
네.
그래서 몇 컷 이제 우리 작가님의 진행으로 그 포토 세션 지나갑니다. 그리고 난 다음에 영상 시청이 있습니다. 이 순서 그대로죠? 맞죠? 체크되셨죠? 자, 영상이 7분가량 돼서 굉장히 많은 시간이 들어가요. 그래서 영상 7분 충분히 보고 영상 시청 다음에는 기조 연설이 있습니다. 기조 연설이 끝나잖아요. 그러면 기조 연설이 끝나면 그러면 유튜브가 이제 종료해요. 아나운서님 인사하시고 그리고 난 다음에 잠시 한 5초 정도 우리가 유튜브 방송 송출 컷하면 이제 안내 멘트 해주시면 됩니다. 그 다음 프로그램에 관련해서 이해되셨나요? 자, 일단 지금 상황에서 되셨죠? 자, 스탠바이 하겠습니다. 전체 스탠바이 들어가고 사회자님 잠깐 미팅 나누도록 하겠습니다. 자, 사회자님 스탠바이 되시면 사전 안내 멘트 한번 진행해 주세요. 자, 행사장 스탠바이 진행하겠습니다. 스태프들 지금 인터컴으로 소통하겠습니다. 앞으로. 네, 행사 준비하겠습니다. 올 스태프들 스탠바이 해주세요.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? In a short while later, the 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage, co-hosted by the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage and the APCONF, will soon begin at 10:20. So please take your seats in the conference hall, and those in the lobby, please make your way into the conference hall. And once you are seated, please remain in your seats, and I would also like to ask you to switch your mobile phones to the silent mode. Furthermore, we are currently conducting a satisfaction survey for today's conference, and you can participate in the survey by scanning the QR code on the entrance banner or the main screen. And you may also find the QR code on the upper right corner at the back of your name tag. Also, if you need any assistance during the conference, please let our staff know, and our staff is there to assist you on the left and right side of the conference halls. And before we begin the conference, please allow me to give you a brief introduction of today's agenda. So we will start the morning with the opening declaration, followed by the opening speech and welcoming remark and congratulatory remark. Afterward, we will screen a promotional video of the National Research Institute of Maritime and Cultural Heritage, and the opening session will be concluded with the keynote speech. After a break, the roundtable session will commence at 1:10 p.m., and upon the conclusion of the roundtable, there will be a 15-minute break before the session presentations and discussions commence. Multiple sessions will be taking place at the same time, so please find your session and proceed to the relevant session. Sessions 5, 13, 10, and 21 will be held from 3:15 to 4:30 p.m., and sessions 5, 13, 14, and 17 will be held from 4:45 to 6 p.m. So sessions 5, 13, 10, and 21 will be held from 3:15 to 4:30 p.m. and sessions 5, 13, 14, and 17 will be held from 4:45 to 6 p.m. So today's conference is being streamed live. The live broadcast is available on the YouTube channel of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage. We look forward to your participation. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage, co-hosted by the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage and the APCONF, will begin at 10:20. So those all in the conference hall, please take your seats, and those in the lobby, please make your way into the conference hall. And we kindly ask you to remain in your seats once you are seated, and please switch your mobile phone to silent mode. And if you need assistance during the conference, please let our staff know, and they are on the left and right side of the conference hall. And we're also conducting a satisfaction survey for today's conference. So you can participate in the survey by scanning the QR code on the entrance banner or on the main screen. You may also find a QR code on the upper right corner on the back of your name tag. We will begin the morning with the opening declaration, followed by the opening speech, welcoming remarks, and congratulatory remarks. Afterwards, we will screen a promotional video of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage, and the opening session will be concluded with the keynote speech. After a break, the roundtable session will commence at 1:10 p.m., and upon the conclusion of the roundtables, there will be a 15-minute break before session presentations and discussions commence. Multiple sessions will be taking place at the same time, so please find your session and proceed to the relevant session room. Sessions 5, 13, 10, and 21 will be held from 3:15 to 4:30 p.m., and sessions 5, 13, 14, and 17 will be held from 4:45 to 6 p.m. So simultaneous interpretation service is provided for the event. So if you need the interpretation service, please use the receiver on the table in front of you. And the Korean is number 1, and for English, number 2. For Korean, number 1, and English, number 2. Simultaneous interpretation service will be provided for the event. So if you need interpretation service, please use the receiver at the desk in front of you. For Korean, please set your channel to number 1, and for English, please set your channel to number 2. Dr. Nalani Wilson Wukowitz, a Senior Research Fellow at the Nawai Atetui Maroi and Indigenous Research Institute, are here with us today. Dr. Kim Hyun-doo, representative of GeoView. Please give him a big round of applause. Mr. Kim Sung-doo, CEO of Ocean Tech.
네?
Dr. Chun Sung-heng, Professor of Joseon University. And Mr. Kim Sang-wook, Director General of the Planning and Operation Division at the Asia Culture Center under the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism. We are honored to have so many other distinguished guests and attendants today, but unfortunately, due to time constraints, we regret that we cannot introduce each and every one of them, so we kindly ask for your understanding. And thanks to the tremendous interest, we are celebrating the 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage this year. And since its launch, APCONF has been a platform for discussions on the challenges facing the conservation of maritime cultural heritage and the methods and technologies to overcome them. It has indeed made significant contributions to the preservation of maritime cultural heritage in the Asia-Pacific region. I do hope that this conference will also serve as an occasion for passionate discussions on sustainable conservation and utilization of maritime cultural heritage. With that, I declare the opening of the 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage. Now let us proceed to listening to the opening speech, which will formally inaugurate this event. The opening speech will be delivered by Director General Kim Seongbae of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage under the Cultural Heritage Administration. Please welcome it with a big round of applause.
Good morning, distinguished guests. This is Kim Seongbae, Director General of National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage of Cultural Heritage Administration of Korea. I'm very pleased to have this 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage in Korea and welcome everyone to this country. Overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic, we are here to have time together for sharing our knowledge in the field of underwater cultural heritage. I'm very happy to meet all of my colleagues in this field. I would like to extend my deepest respect and gratitude to all of you who have shown great commitment to this challenging but valuable field. Today, underwater cultural heritage is facing a lot of challenges. Climate change has exacerbated conservation environment of underwater cultural heritage. Excessive marine development and overfishing have accelerated the damage. In order to overcome these impending challenges with new technology, UN announced the 10-year plan for marine science for sustainable development. This conference also aims to explore the way for the UN plan's application to the underwater cultural heritage. In addition, looking back the past, we are going to seek the way to overcome the current challenges and discuss future direction. All of us here have different nationalities, races, and backgrounds. However, we are common in that all of us deeply love our nature, history, and underwater cultural heritage. By sharing diverse perspectives and experiences, we could uncover the guidance and direction for a better future in your own condition. Today's conference cannot be held without great endeavors and efforts from many people. My deep thanks go to Dr. Nia Niarkor Hassana Ridwan and Dr. Veronica Walker-Badillo and Dr. Brian Fair and organizing committee. I would like to give my deep thanks to Mr. Kim Yeon-soo, head of National Research Institute of Cultural Heritage, who hosted this conference as a former head of National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage. I would like to extend my deep thanks and gratitude to all of you who have spared no time and effort for the conference. The weather became cold overnight. I sincerely hope all of you have a productive time together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim, for your meaningful message. Let's give Mr. Kim another big round of applause. Next, we have our welcoming remarks. The first remark will be delivered by Ms. Nia Nairul Hassana Ridwan of APCONF, who has traveled a long way to attend this conference. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Nia Nairul Hassana Ridwan to the stage with a big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Annyeonghaseyo. Mr. Kim Seongbae, Director General of the National Research Institute for Maritime Cultural Heritage of Korea, Mrs. Kim Yong-so, the head of the National Research Institute for Cultural Heritage, Mr. Kim Yon-han, the former head of the Cultural Heritage Conservation Science Center, Mr. Sim Yang-sok, the former head of the Underwater Archaeology Division of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage, Dr. Bill Jeffrey and Dr. Hans van Tilburg, our former chairs of Asia Pacific or Underwater Cultural Heritage. Our keynote speakers, Dr. Kim Yon-han and Dr. Nalani Wilson, all presenters, observers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the co-chairs of the 5th Asia Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage, Dr. Veronica Fadillo and Dr. Brian Fay, I would like to welcome you all here in Gwangju, Republic of Korea, for attending the 5th Asia Pacific Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage. We are delighted to organize this conference with the National Research Institute for Maritime Cultural Heritage of Korea, who provide us a great contribution to make this happen. And with the support of our other sponsors, Wenner Grant Foundation, GeoView, OceanTech, PureNext, AIMA, Chosun University, Archaeology Chemistry Laboratory, Dong-A University, and Kim Hae National Museum, we are able to provide travel awards funding for 60 presenters from the Asia and Pacific region. And our gratitude goes to all the committee members, keynote speakers, and the volunteers, and all people who provide us an assistance from the beginning until today, and also the ACC Center. In this conference, we expect 250 until 300 participants from 40 countries, representing Southeast Asia, East Asia, South Asia, the Pacific, Middle East, and many other countries all over the world. And in this conference, there will be a keynote speeches, panel, 190 oral presentation in person, either online, with 25 specific sessions, a general sessions, poster presentation, workshop on UCH technology, and field trip, and as well as the exhibition. This conference with a main theme, the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, will be a great space for knowledge exchange and networking on maritime and underwater cultural heritage field, ocean science, and other related fields. And this conference aims to further advance our knowledge on the region's maritime and underwater heritage and address management and protection strategies of maritime and underwater heritage in Asia and in the countries of Indian and the Pacific Oceans. It is also aims to foster discussion on the UNESCO Convention 2001 and its ratification, and the application of the Convention's Annex for the protection of the world's underwater cultural heritage. This APCONF 5 championed the inclusion of traditional ecological knowledge of local communities and highlights the value of underwater cultural heritage to address major threats such as climate change, natural disasters, and human-induced hazard. So we hope that later on we are able to bring the ideas and new insight we obtain here, and we can apply that in our beloved countries for better UCH development for generation to come. How will we answer the future generation if we are not researching, protecting, preserving, and managing our maritime and underwater cultural heritage wisely and sustainably along with its ecosystem? So please keep that in mind. This conference followed the success of the previous AP conference in Manila, Hawaii, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And we are lucky today, we are here in such a great country with so many historical backgrounds, ranging from Goguryeo dynasty, three kingdoms, Silla, Baekje, Goryeo, as well as Joseon dynasty for the APCONF 5. So thank you everyone, enjoy the conference, make a friends, don't forget to explore the country of K-drama, K-beauty, K-pop, but I hope that is not the main reason you are here. So yeah, we made it, and thank you so much. Mannaso banggapsmita, kamsalderimita.
Thank you, Dr. Nailu
네,
Hassan
박사님 좋은 말씀 감사드립니다. 진심 어린 말씀 잘 들었습니다. 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다.
Now next, I would like to invite Ms. Kim Yeon-soo, head of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage, to deliver her congratulatory speech. Now the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. This is the head of National Cultural Heritage Institute, Kim Yeon-soo. Nice to meet you. So first of all, I would like to give my deepest congratulations for the 5th Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage. And I would like to give my deepest welcome to all of you who came here. As all of you are well aware, Korea is surrounded by seas. The 3 parts of this country is surrounded by sea, for it is the peninsula. Ever since the prehistoric era, sea has always become an important place for our lives, and also it serves as an important means for transportation. By using sea and rivers, it facilitates exchanges and cooperation between countries and also between cities. And that remnants can be checked by a number of artifacts and relics of the history. In the underwater cultural heritage, Korea has achieved a remarkable growth in 1976, and that was started from the discovery of the 14th century ships and celadons and porcelains in Sinan waters. At that time, archaeology, art history, and conservation science, and many other experts in this field, and divers and U.S. and Korean Navy were all mobilized to excavate all those relics and artifacts, and we have carried out a lot of studies and researches in this field, and this has unfolded the era of underwater archaeology in Korea. So this Asia-Pacific Regional Conference on Underwater Cultural Heritage, I was told that there are 26 different sessions under different themes, and I expect that we could boost more and more research and studies in this field. And Asia-Pacific studies can become more facilitated with today's conference. I would like to give my deep thanks again and also congratulations for hosting this event. And I expect all of you have a very productive and meaningful time together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kim, for giving such an insightful speech. Let's give her another big round of applause. Next, we will have a photo session to commemorate this conference. I would like to invite all distinguished guests to come up to the stage and face the cameras in the front. And it would be greatly appreciated if the attendants could stay seated for a short moment during the commemorative photo session. So we will have Mr. Kim Seongbae, Ms. Kim Yeon-soo, Mr. Kim Yong-han, Mr. Sim Yeon-seop, Dr. Nia Nairul Hassana Ridwan, Dr. Veronica Walker-Vadillo, Dr. Brian Fay, Dr. Nilani Wilson-Hokowitz, and Dr. Kim Hyung-doo, Mr. Hong Song-doo, Dr. Chun Song-heng, and Mr. Kim Sang-uk on the stage. So on the count of 3, we will take the photo. 1, 2, 3. Can we also do the fighting motion for the photo? 네, 화이팅 한번 하시겠습니다. 1, 2, 3. Fighting. Okay. So we will also take another photo with our attendees on the background. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's wave to our audiences. 1, 2, 3. So we will also make a heart after this photo. Our staff will help you getting back to your seats. Next up, we will screen a video of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage, which has put in tireless efforts to organize this conference.
Beauty of the Old Mysteries. Treasure number 1782, Celadon toad-shaped inkstone with paste-on-paste design. Treasure number 1783, Celadon prunus vase with inlaid chrysanthemum peony, willow, heron, and bamboo design and bamboo strip. Treasure number 1784, Celadon prunus vase with incised lotus and branch design and bamboo strip. These are artifacts found in archaeological site of Taean shipwreck and Mado shipwreck number 2. Underwater archaeology is the archaeology which brings the life back to forgotten treasures underwater. There are people who jump into the ocean for the treasures underwater. Now, here we are to meet the world of underwater archaeology. Underwater archaeology team, searching for forgotten treasures. Located in Mokpo, the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage is responsible for underwater archaeological excavation, conservation of the findings, and research projects of Korea. You can imagine the importance of National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage, as it is the one and only institution for underwater archaeological excavation, compared to the number of institutions conducting archaeological excavation on land. Underwater Archaeology Team of Korea performs the core tasks at National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage. Archaeological excavation of underwater cultural heritage first begins with exploration of the archaeological site. The high-tech equipment is applied, but a visual verification of the site in person is a must. Archaeological excavation only begins after the confirmation of the presence of relics. The types of the artifacts, their quantity, distribution pattern, and other data are examined beforehand. The findings are lifted onto the ship exclusive for underwater archaeology and then transferred to Conservation Laboratory at the Institute for Conservation and Restoration. Writing scholarly reports and publishing archaeological work are all core tasks of Underwater Archaeology Team. So, when did the history of Korean underwater archaeology first begin? The finding of Shinan shipwreck in 1976 opened the horizon of Korean underwater archaeology. The archaeological excavation of the trading vessel, which traveled between China and Japan, was the cornerstone of underwater archaeology of Korea. Besides, internationally recognized as one of the greatest findings of underwater. Since the excavation of Shinan shipwreck, the underwater archaeology of Korea was followed by the substantial development and growth. Gwangju shipwreck, found in 1983, was the first Korean Celadon transporting vessel from Goryeo Dynasty, and it represented the significant historical value. The project at Gogunsan Islands in early 2000s was the first independent excavation without the help of the National Navy Force. The project at Mado Sea area in Taean took a few years. During the project, 4 vessels of the Goryeo Dynasty and Joseon Dynasty, including a cargo vessel, were discovered, and it attracted great academic interest. The finding of Yeonghung-do shipwreck had historical significance, as it was the first vessel from unified Shilla dynasty. Since the Shinan shipwreck excavation, Underwater Archaeology Team has made every endeavor, and the team has discovered innumerable artifacts and features sleeping deep down the water. All the experiences gained during the projects enabled the establishment of distinctive research system and has possessed capability of working independently. As a result, we have managed to recover 14 shipwrecks and over 120,000 pieces of artifacts and introduce them to the world outside the water. Research technology for underwater cultural heritage is evolving, along with the advancement of marine science technology. And the efforts made to achieve higher technological advancement is an ongoing process. Overcoming the tough underwater environment of Korea has always been a difficult task. Especially the pressure of working underwater environment with strong tidal current of the Western Sea, where the ancient shipwrecks are often found, were threatening, yet unavoidable. The low visibility due to thick sediments risks the lives of the team from time to time, but it is a condition to overcome. The work has been challenging to every member in the team, but the pride they gain from making contribution to the history of underwater archaeology made them keep going. Korea promotes diverse international exchanges with overseas institutions for advancement of research and development of underwater cultural heritage. National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage is enthusiastic about international exchanges, and we make visits or attend training programs globally. Furthermore, we are building our reputation by holding international symposiums. Korean Peninsula is surrounded by seas on 3 sides, and we have great potential of growth in underwater archaeology. Therefore, considerable amount of investment are made to the field of underwater archaeology. Running a self-built research vessel with high-tech equipment, which is exclusive for underwater archaeology, is one good example. The advancing technology supports the researchers and divers to work under risky environments. The underwater archaeology of Korea is ready to take a step further based on what has been accomplished so far. The Republic of Korea offers the new paradigm for cultural heritage research underwater and is willing to be part of underwater cultural heritage protection.
So the video offered in-depth insights into the projects and initiatives led by the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage to explore and safeguard maritime cultural heritage. We look forward to the continued development and progress going forward. Now, moving on, I'm pleased to call upon Mr. Kim Yong-han, former head of the Cultural Heritage Conservation Science Center of the National Research Institute of Maritime Cultural Heritage. He will be giving a keynote speech under the topic of History of Maritime Cultural Heritage Excavation. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
So first of all, I would like to give my deep welcome to all the participants who come from afar. Korea used to have a very distinct 4 seasons, and now it is very beautiful autumn, even though the weather gets a little bit cold, but I sincerely expect that you can fully enjoy the beauty of fall. And in particular, Gwangju is a birthplace of Korean democracy and also famous for Korean foods. So I expect that you can enjoy a lot of delicious Korean foods while you are staying here. The reason that I'm standing here in front of you is because about 8 years ago, maybe I joined with you guys for the start of this conference, so I'm very honored to be here as a keynote speaker. So as you have watched in our video, you may know what's going on in the Korean underwater archaeology, but I'm going to elaborate on underwater archaeology in Korea. So I'm not a tacky person, but anyway, let me just explain what underwater archaeology is. As all of you are well aware, George Bass and Keith McElroy uncovered this academic field, which helps to study and investigate the cultural heritage which is uncovered under the sea. And underwater cultural heritage, and as Dr. Nia mentioned, according to the Article 1 of the Convention of Underwater Cultural Heritage, the artifacts and relics should be lasted at least 100 years and located in the water, and they should have some cultural, historical, or archaeological values. And those type of objects are called as underwater cultural heritage. So cultural heritage, architect, artificial objects, and some remnants of ships and airplanes can all regarded as underwater cultural heritage. As Ms. Kim mentioned, Korea is surrounded by sea in three sides, for it is the peninsula. For this reason, we have very unique marine culture. And there are a lot of physical evidence that from the prehistoric era to the modern times, you can see a lot of material evidences in three seas of Korea. In the West Sea, South Sea, and East Sea, the average depth, as you can see here, West Sea's average depth is 44 meter, South Sea 100 meter, and East Sea is 1600 meter, which is very deep. And the max depth is, in case of the West Sea, 100 meter, South Sea 227 meter, and East Sea 4,000 meters, which is very deep. So in order to enhance your understanding about Korea's history, this is just a brief chronology of Korean history. The Gojoseon period was started from BC 24 to BC 2nd century. And the Three Kingdom period started from BC 1st century to AD 7th century. A unified Shilla lasted from 7th century to 10th century, and post Three Kingdoms, 9th century to 10th century, Goryeo dynasty, 10th century to 14th century, and Joseon, 14th century to 19th century, and Korean Empire, 19th century to the 20th century. However, out of all those relics and artifacts, most of them were from Goryeo dynasty, ranging from 10th century to 14th century. So this reflects that a lot of relics and artifacts have been exchanged during this time by sea. And also during the Unified Shilla period and Joseon dynasty, we also identify some of the relics and artifacts during this period as well. And this is the underwater excavation in Korea, which has been well covered in the video that you just watched. And in the mid-1960s, there was the exploration of the Battle of the Sea by the Korean Navy, by the Korean Cultural Heritage Administration. And also the Korean Navy excavated the Chungmugong relics and artifacts in the 1970s, and also in 1975, the Ana Pond in Gwangju area was excavated. And this ship, which was excavated in Gwangju area, is now displayed in Gwangju National Museum. after conservation process. However, the actual underwater excavation was first started in 1976 in the off-coast area of Shinan. In 1975, one fisherman caught 6 pieces of ceramics in his fishing net. So as a result, after a long sleep of 600 years, he awakened the Shinan undersea relics. As a result, we started to uncover the history which was buried and submerged in the sea. And also, we started to pay a lot of interest and attention about the underwater cultural heritage. And from 1976 to 1984, there was Shinan underwater excavation. If you have time, I expect that I would like to give some brief explanation about this. And also on Saturday, you may have a chance to visit Mokpo. And during your visit there, you may also see all these relics in the 14th century. The Chinese merchant ships and also 22,000 cargoes and 28 tons of coins were excavated, and the total amount reaches 8 million. And this was the first underwater excavation in Korea. And also, this is widely known for the bottle of the dogs, as you can see in this photo. So when the fisherman pulled the fish net in the sea, all of a sudden, one of the bottles were taken, caught in the fishing net, and that used to be used for the bottle for the dog, but there was a reporting from a teacher that this seems to be one of the relics. So that's how the underwater excavation was started in 1976. And also, Wando underwater excavation was carried out from 1983 and 1984. It was also started by the reporting from the fishermen, and most of the underwater excavation in Korea was conducted by the fishermen's report. So you can see the photo of the excavation process and also the restoration of the shipwreck and also some of the porcelains and potteries that we excavated from the water. So as a result, we could get 30,000 ceramics and also a lot of sailors' daily necessities and life goods. And most of them were assumed to be the products made in the 12th century Goryeo dynasty. And also in Jeju Island at Sinchang, there was underwater excavation in 1980, 83, and 1996. And from 2001 and up until 2001, there was another excavation. And most of them were golden ornaments and Chinese ceramics. And we found more than 1,200 ceramics and golden ornaments. In this area, the underwater visibility is relatively clear, so it was relatively easier to excavate and found the relics. And out of the Shinan underwater excavation in front of Taean Waters, there was a couple of underwater excavations from 1981 to 1987. And we found Goryeo celadons, 40 pieces, and porcelains from Joseon dynasty, ranging from 14th to 17th century. And from 1991 to 1992 in Jindo Pyeokpat, even though it was not done in underwater excavation, but we also excavated the lowboat from China, which is assumed to be 13th to 14th century. Its length is about 15 to 16 meters. So such a large lowboat was excavated. And also this was done by the reporting from a fisherman. And in Muan Doripo, underwater excavation was done in 1995 to 1996. Even though we couldn't find the shipwreck, however, we could find 600 celadons in Goryeo Dynasty in 14th century. And also near Mokpo, there's one island called Dallido near Mokpo. So we excavated the shipwreck here, and the tidal current couldn't pass in the area. So there was some corrosion and erosion in the area. So we could, that's the reason how we could excavate this shipwreck of Goryeo Dynasty. And underwater excavation of Kunsan Biando from 2002 to 2003. And with this excavation, we could salvage almost 3,000 celadon of Goryeo in 12th and 13th century. However, we couldn't uncover the shipwrecks. Up until 2003, we received some support from the Korean Navy. And in the Shibidongpa Island, which is in the off-water of Kunsan, underwater excavation was done from 2003 to 2004. With this excavation, we could salvage more than 8,000 celadons from Goryeo Dynasty. And from this period, the excavation was done by the private sector without any help from the Korean Navy. And in 2005, in Sinan Anja Island, there was another excavation process. As you can see here, we did an investigation for the shipwreck, which is estimated to be the Goryeo Dynasty in the 14th century. And we also identified and uncovered 4 celadons of Goryeo Dynasty. And as you have seen in the photos, in Ansan Daebudo, there were 2 times of excavation in 2006 and 2012. And there were 2 shipwrecks of 12th century and 13th century Goryeo Dynasty. And we uncovered 48 celadons. And what is very important excavation was Taean Daeseom underwater excavation from 2007 to 2008. As you can see on the left side, you can see a lot of artifacts and relics excavated in this area. And on the right side is the wooden tab, which shows the labels of the cargo. Like the underwater heritage of Sinan, the baby octopus, which is a little bit like a squid. The fisherman who caught this baby octopus happened to take this porcelain together with it. As a result, that's the reason how we can start this excavation process in Taean area. And this helped to uncover more than 20,000 celadons. In Incheon Yeonghung-do, we excavated the shipwreck of Unified Silla period, which was the oldest that we have ever uncovered. And also, we unearthed more than 700 celadons. And the most important part here is the underwater excavation in Mado area in front of Taean from 2008 to 2015, 13th century Goryeo shipwreck, 3 shipwrecks, and also 1 shipwreck from the 15th century Joseon dynasty, and Goryeo celadons, porcelains, buncheongs, and also the cargo tags, were identified, and almost more than 3,000 were identified.
이렇게 해서 그 많은 곳에서 나왔는데요. 지금 여기는 그 UCH에 대한 그 발견 신고 건수를 지금 얘기하는 건데, 인천 경기 해역 쪽에서 27건, 충남 해역 쪽에서 80건.
27 in Incheon Gyeonggi. There were 40 in the Jeonbuk province, 126 in the Jeollanam-do province, 8 in the Jeju province, as well as 9 in the Gangwon province, 2 in the Gyeongsang-Bukdo province, 9 in the Gyeongsangnam province, and then 11 in other regions. So in total, we have reported 344 relics, and there were about 28 times of shipwrecks. And also in Korea, the Korean government is active in managing and unearthing these relics and heritages. And so especially in the waters of Taean, where the Chungcheongnam-do province is, we have many facilities installed in those regions. And as you can see in this slide, in 1981, you will be visiting Mokpo on Saturday. And so we have established the Conservation Center in 1981, and then the exhibition hall was opened in 1994 in Mokpo. And then it was in 2011 that the Conservation Center in the Chungcheongnam-do province in Taean was established, and the exhibition hall was made in 2019 in Taean. So up to now, we've looked into the current status of all the relics and heritages, and now I would like to talk a little bit more about the underwater excavation activities. So as you can see on the right lower side, you can see the sunken site, and then starting from 1976 to 1984, the excavation took place in the waters of Jeollanam-do province, Sinan. And so it was done actually by the Cultural Heritage Administration of the Sinan excavation team, and also with the support of the Korean Navy SSU. And so when we look at the marine environment, the water depth was 20 meters, and the current was 2.5 knots, which is very fast. And visibility, it was almost zero. It's nearly zero visibility. You couldn't see anything. And the sea bed was mainly composed of mud, soil, and pebbles. And so to overcome such limitations, we have installed these metal grids on top of the shipwreck, which is 2.2 times 2 meters, and we had 76 metal grids installed on the shipwreck to identify the location. And so I said that the water depth was 20 meters, and then the width is about 6.6, and the length is about 20 meters. And so we found about 20,000 potteries, 729 medals, 45 stoneworks, and about 575 pieces of others. And so these are the celadons of the Sinan shipwreck that we found. And these are the Koryo celadons of the Sinan shipwreck. And so these are very important materials in order to identify the characteristics of the Sinan ship. And also we found about 28 tons of coins, and so which was about 8 million coins. And so this is a scale. It's called Gyeongwon-no. And so currently we can see the characteristic of this scale. It tells a lot about its history. And next is a wooden tag. So we are able to know when the ship was run because it has a wooden tag. And also we can see that this comes from the AD 1323. And also this is related to the structure of the Shinan ship. And when you go to the bottom of the ship, you can see that there is the keel, and then you can also see the bulkhead frame. And so 24.8 meter is the total length. And also you can find these parts. So there are 9 holes in the back, and then there was also a wooden nail, and then we could find the coins in the 7 holes that we found, and at the hole there was another relic that we found. And then these are wood species, which is made of Pinus masoniana and also the Cunninghamia lanceolata. And so the LOA is 34 meters, and the Bmax is about 11 meters, with a depth 3.75 meters, tons about 260 tons, which is the dimension of the Shinan ship. And so probably the Shinan ship could be classified as a Chinese Fuchuan type seagoing vessel. And so it could also be certified as a merchant ship in the 14th century of the Yuan dynasty of China. And so this was the first project where we did actually the underwater excavation, and it took us 9 years to do the overall excavation. And to do the model working, it took 5 years from 1982 to 1986. And for conservation, it took 20 years from 1981 to 1999. And for reassembling, it took 4 years from 1999 to 2002. And so this is the one that you will be actually seeing on Saturday. So this is exhibited in Bokpo. And sorry for being a little bit slow, but this was the current status of all the excavation projects. Thank you very much.
So the keynote speech went over all Korean history of the excavation and the efforts of the government and other institutions behind such development of excavation and preservation techniques in Korea. Once again, I would like to ask you to give Mr. Kim another big round of applause for shedding light on the past endeavors as well as presenting the future path going forward in terms of pursuing maritime cultural heritage. Now, this brings us to the end of the opening ceremony, and I would like to thank all esteemed guests and attendees for your participation. Now, we will take a break until 1:10 p.m., and starting at 1:10, we will commence an hour and 40-minute long roundtable discussion in this very hall. And following that, you're welcome to join the sessions of your choice based on your interest in the respective rooms. And I would like to give you a notice on lunch. Those in Group B, those who are not students, please visit the registration desk to get the lunch ticket. Those in Group B who are not students, please visit the registration desk to receive the lunch tickets. Also, I would like to give you a notice for dinner today. We will be gathering at the main entrance of the Asia Culture Center at 6 p.m. to walk to the dinner venue, and it will be a 13-minute walk by foot. At 6 p.m. at the main entrance of the Asia Culture Center. And once again, thank you to all those who are here today for your time and interest. We look forward to your participation in the roundtable and the following sessions in the afternoon. Now, allow me to close here. And my name is Kim Min-ji, and it's been an honor to be your MC for today. Thank you.